In focus now, Michael Oren, former Israeli ambassador to the United States. Ambassador, a couple of things this morning that we are learning further, and I was just reading about this. I'm curious to know what types of groups we have in this country. The PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, posted a short time ago on its social media account that we reject any attempt to associate the PSL with the D.C. shooting. Elias Rodriguez is not a member of PSL. He had a brief association with one branch of the PSL that ended in 2017. We know of no contact with him for over 7 years. We have nothing to do with this shooting and do not support it. There will be groups that will come out. Who's among us?
Good to be with you, Harris. There's no shortage of these groups, quite tragically. Whether it's the Students for Justice for Palestine, an organization called BDS, Boycott, Divest, and Sanction. All these organizations have one goal and one goal only, and that is the destruction of the state of Israel. And to destroy the state of Israel, you have to dehumanize the citizens of Israel, the vast majority of whom happen to be Jewish. It is a Jewish state. And that is why these organizations are fundamentally anti-Semitic, because they will deny the right to self-determination to only one people in the world, and that is the Jewish people. And they want to deny that right by destroying us, not by somehow, not like convincing Jews to move elsewhere. No, by destroying the Jewish state. And that's what leads to this violence. This violence is the product of endless, mind-bending social media that convinces young people that the only way they can bring good to the world is by killing Jews and destroying the Jewish state. And that is what has to be clamped down on. And that is what I believe this administration is doing. Very crucial at this time.
Oren and Sarah, pictured here, will continue to keep their families in our prayers. At this time, the action, though, is what you're talking about. Fox's Mark Levin talked about the need for action. Watch.
Jews are not safe in every capital in Europe, and now they're not safe in our capital. We need to learn and see what's taking place. This is what happens when you have open borders and unfettered and unvetted immigration, particularly from the Middle East, and they are the enemy. They're not an adversary. They're not a bunch of punks just with big mouths. They're marching through the streets like no Nazis ever have, like no Klansmen ever have in our country, calling for the destruction of the United States of America, the overthrow of the West, burning the American flag, chasing Jewish students on college campuses, threatening elderly Jews who hold signs on the streets peacefully, attacking our synagogues. Is this what we want? Is this who we are?
Ambassador, he lays out where we've been in only a year or so. I mean, who is shocked that we have not gotten to this horrible point, mourning these two lives today?
Well, I think that my friend Mark is exactly right. That what begins with anti-Semitism, hatred of Jews, goes very quickly to hatred of the United States. The calls for the destruction of Israel become indistinguishable for calls for destruction of the United States of America. Just listen to what these protesters are saying. And he's right. They burn American flags. They spit at American policemen. But the threat, Harris, is not only domestic. It's also international. Right now, this week, while Israelis are fighting literally for our lives, fighting against the evil of Islamic extremism in Gaza, trying to release our hostages. Tonight, 2 Houthi missiles were fired at Israel, trying to kill thousands of Israelis with these very large missiles. We have countries like France, like Canada, and Britain calling to boycott Israel, to cut off trade with Israel. They're our major trading partners. And it would be very appreciative if the United States government would say to these Western countries, saying that if you're going to boycott Israel and further delegitimize the Jewish state and encourage people to take actions such as occurred today in Washington by this killer, that they're going to have to answer to the United States of America.
Can you speak to the percentage of just the increase in attacks on Jewish Americans?
Well, the Anti-Defamation League, which actually records the numbers of attacks and anti-Semitic incidents in the United States, has recorded something of a leap of 600% of anti-Semitic incidents over the last year alone.
I do want to get this in here. It's breaking news. So police in D.C., their sources are telling Fox News law enforcement is currently searching the apartment of the suspected double murderer. So they are inside Elias Rodriguez's apartment as we speak, and we'll kind of give a play-by-play, Ambassador, to you and our audience as we learn more. We want to keep up. This is happening expeditiously. The Anti-Defamation League you were just talking about, what more can we do as a nation? We know we have groups that we need to watch. We know we have groups that are watching what they're doing. But what action do you want to see right now? Because you have President Trump at the ready to do what he's doing, along with our Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Kick these American haters out. Like, why do we have them in our country? What's your take on action?
Well, certainly clamp down. Clamp down on these organizations that sponsor this type of hatred, that increase incitement against Jews and against the United States as well. When I was ambassador, I was the target of an attempted assassination by the Iranians. And I received reinforcement from the U.S. Secret Service. Tremendous agents were assigned to guard me. They did a terrific job. Right now, at this very crucial time and dangerous time for Israelis living abroad generally, and certainly Israeli emissaries living abroad, diplomats, we could use all the reinforcements we can get.
All right. As Americans and Americans of faith, we owe it to our fellow Americans of faith to shore all of you up. We know that Yaron and Sarah will be a blessing to their families, the loss of them. God bless you. Thank you for being with me.
Blessed.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Sarah.